we were talking about going to spend a little bit this time talking about county football and county basketball. Basketball tournament's coming up, so we'll save that for the end. But jump in there with your county football.
All right. Well, it was last year we had quite a bit of a football action this past season. I know that pardon me, it wasn't as successful as other seasons have been for the county teams. I know only Clements was the only team from the county to make the playoffs, which they had a great year. Coach Parker's doing a great job over there.
He's doing a great job over there.
They 2 years in a row they made the playoffs. They had made the playoffs total ever in the last 10 years, and now they made it 2 years in a row. So that's pretty great accomplishment for them. I know they struggled through a series of 1-win seasons for a while, but Coach Parker seems to have that program going on the right track, and they had a Jerice Pryor as their running back, ran for about 1,800 yards. We named him our player of the year for football this past year, 28 touchdowns, about 1,800 yards rushing. Also threw a touchdown pass out of the Wildcat formation. I mean, he had a great season, and Coach Parker's got some things going over there. And then Athens High School, they had another good year under Coach Gross. Talk about somebody who's doing a great job. When Coach Gross got there, Athens was pretty down, and in 4 years they've gotten better each year. This past year they finally beat Hartselle. It was the first time they beat Hartselle in about 15 their last 14 times. I think the last time they beat Hartselle was in the 2006 playoffs before this past year.
Wow.
They beat Decatur for the third year in a row, which is the first time they've done that in 30 years. And then they were able to host a first-round playoff game. So, and that's all with their starting quarterback went to transfer to Muscle Shoals before the season started.
And they got new sprint turf.
They did. Yes, can't forget that. That's amazing. That's really funny because you don't know how many people we had calling. That was a big deal. People calling the News Courier office asking, well, when's that turf going to get down? And people driving by and seeing, because for a long time it just sat there as gravel.
Yes.
So everyone's going to get down for the season starts.
They didn't think it was ready.
It finally did. They had guys working 24 hours, I think, to get that turf down. But it was nice, and it came in really handy because one of the games they played, it was raining. And if it wasn't for that turf, it'd been a muddy mess. But it was a perfect playing condition. So it was a big year all around for them getting the new field and then having a really good season. They hosted a first round playoff game for the first time since 2005. So unfortunately they won. They lost the second round to a really strong Clay Chalkville team. 6A is really tough. 6A is probably better, just about as good as 7A in football.
I've got connections to the Scottsboro program a little bit, and they just jumped up to 6A this year. They're going to be at the bottom end of
well, you got
a tough conference.
6A,
region.
you got like Pinson Valley, Oxford, Clay Chalkville, all those Gardendale, those a lot of tough teams in 6A, but Athens every year they just get a little bit better. So I look for continued big things, and hopefully
some region changes happen.
Yep. They moved, every 2 years they do reclassification. So there's I think East is back in the same region they were in 2 years ago.
But there's only 17, so we had to pick up an extra out of region game, so it made it real hard.
Yeah, Coach Pugh was disappointed about that. I talked to him after they came out, and he's like he had to go scrounging around for another game because
we're going all the way to we're not playing Athens anymore, so he had to really go around. We're going all the way to Sylvania.
Oh wow!
So it's most teams already had their schedules made, so he had to really go. So, I think we're playing Mars Hill and Sylvania.
Wow. They're not playing Tanner anymore either.
Not playing Tanner anymore either. So we're playing West Limestone, Sylvania, and who did I?
Mars Hill.
Mars Hill.
That'll be an interesting game.
Yeah. Mars
Hill jumped up to 2A this year. They'd won the state championship 1A, then made the final last year.
Don't let Mars Hill deceive you with 2A.
They're good.
They beat Brooks, and Brooks is 4A.
Absolutely. So.
And Brooks is pretty good for a team.
Belmont gets to go down a classification.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, I think that might help Coach Wells.
It will. They
that and another year of age on his players.
Yeah,
they were in such a tough region too. Yes. They don't need to be in 4A first of all because their team size was half the size of everybody. Then to be in a region with Deschler and West and Central and Brooks, this is really not. It was almost unfair.
Now, we did call a game a couple of years ago. Brooks come to town and Elmont beat that tail, but they had a team full of upperclassmen.
Yeah. Well, they were so young this year, and I think that Coach Wells said they only had 5 upperclassmen total.
Was that the game where they had like 3 onside kicks in a row.
Yep.
And
Elkmont had a big lead, and Elk Brooks was coming back and almost got. Well, they got back into it, but almost come back and won.
They recovered two of the 3 onside kicks, and Elkmont, I think, just didn't have the right personnel out on the field, and finally got it all together.
That was their former coach as well.
They're going into a region that's much more conducive on their level. With the teams they'll be playing next year. It'll be more competitive, good competition level for them.
Exactly. So we got semifinals coming up Friday night for the basketball tournament.
County tournament. Yeah,
it starts today.
It starts today. Well, the middle school starts today. Varsity starts Monday night. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. The semifinals in Thursday and Friday. The championship Saturday.
Saturday, 3:30 and 5.
Yep. So, and last year's tournament was awesome. This year's tournament, I think, is going to be just as good, if not better. I have no idea who's going to win. Any of the boys' teams could probably win it. I mean, there's so much parity.
After last night, you never know because, like I said, West Limestone goes in as a 5th seed, and they beat the 1st seed last night.
They did.
What is the seeding? Do you know off the top of your head?
East is 1. This is on the boys' side. East is 1. Elkmont's 2. Tanner's 3. Ardmore 4. West is 5, and Clements is 6. On the girls' side, East is 1, West is 2, Tanner, I think, is 3. I think it's Ardmore's 4 again, and then 5 is Clements and 6 is Elkmont.
Okay.
So, now the girls' side, I think East will cakewalk to a championship there, but who they play, anybody else could be in the final because I think all the other girls' teams are pretty close together.
Yeah. Gyra is definitely the real deal there.
Yeah, you're right. Gyra
but she's been getting a lot of double teams, which she was last night too, and that we saw a lot of young girls for East Limestone stepping up like they did last night.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, Brianna Johnson. She's a sophomore. She's come along really strong this year, and when they double team Gyra, they just give the ball to her, and she puts it up and will score. But I think they're going to take the girls' title. That's my prediction. And then on the boys' side, I'm going to step out on a limb, and I'm going to predict that West Limestone is going to come all the way through as a 5 seed and win the tournament.
You're stepping out on a limb.
That's my stepping on a limb. I know East is the 1 seed. They're more talent. They got more talent, but I just love the way West plays the game. They if they hit their shots. They as we saw last night, they beat them by double digits.
It's at their gym too.
They
host it. It's at West. They host a tournament.
Thing with West, like every coach will say, you want to peak at the right time, and they've peaked. They beat Elkmont at their gym, and they beat East Limestone. This is the time for them to peak.
They started off so slow. It's unbelievable to me they're a 5 seed in the tournament. I mean, they may be the best 5 seed in the history of the Limestone County tournament.
They had a lot of football players.
Because they started so slow. They started, I think, like 2-6 or something like that, and lost to Tanner, lost to Ardmore, lost to Elkmont. But they're, as you said, they're starting to roll now. They've won 3 or 4 in a row.
I'm going to tell you another sleeper team. I called one of their games was Tanner.
Tanner is same thing.
J.J. Jones, that kid, when he's on the roll, he's hard to stop.
Yeah, I saw him play last night against Sheffield, and Sheffield had beaten them earlier in the year over at Sheffield. It was a big area game, and they pretty much handled Sheffield with ease. They won by 14, and it was they were ahead by double digits most of the game. But I think they start off slow because they kind of work in some new players, but they're hitting their stride. I think they won 7 in a row, 8 in a row. So they're going to be tough.
Yeah,
tough to beat. They got a freshman who's come in, and he's one of the leading scorers now. Jabari Brown scored 19 last night.
Oh wow!
He's a great shooter. If you try to double team JJ inside, they'll just kick it out to him, and he can hit a 3. So they're a very dangerous team. So I think Tanner or West or East or Ardmore's a pretty good team too. I mean, any of those and Elkmont. Don't forget Elkmont. They're the 2 seed.
When Coach Smith, those guys will play hard.
They do. So. Coach Smith is doing a good job over there at Elkmont. So any of those teams. I mean, it's going to be a fascinating. I'm really looking forward to seeing that tournament. It's going to be fascinating.
So get out to West Limestone. You better get there early because parking is
terrible.
And like Coach Taylor said, they're going to put people out there to. They're going to take a fundraiser to get people for seating. They're going to put their kids out there to. Hey, we'll pay for you to sit in our seats too. So seating is going to be hard too.
Tickets are $5 a day. But yeah, you want to get there early because the seating, it's not a very big gym.
Exactly. So
not as big as Tanner's or Elkmont's, which has hosted the last 2 years. They don't have a balcony. So
right.
get there early and enjoy some good basketball. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yep.
Jeff, come back and join us sometime, ladies and gentlemen. It's been very good talking to you, brother.
I always love coming here every year.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to go. Another show in the books. You've been listening to Applebee's Tailgate Talk on WKAC alongside what am I trying to say?
Yeah.
Alongside Tom McClung, Old Tom Cat, alongside Bama Zach Green, producer extraordinaire Tim Lambert, and Jeff Edwards, news Courier sports writer. We ain't got to go home, but we got to get ourselves up out of here. We'll see you next week, ladies and gentlemen.